Yesterday, something big happened. The FDA came out and they removed the black box warning labels on hormones, specifically when we look at estrogen. So, why is this such a big deal? Well, first, let's look at some of the reactions that are occurring. And the reactions are really all over the place, right? Um, you have things FDA's removing it, FDA reverses decades old warning, which, we're going to talk about that warning. Was it ever truly legitimate to begin with? There's places here, which, Mother Jones, maybe this is a blog or something, right? Many problems with the FDA's big announcement on menopause. So this is a really big deal. Hopefully, this gets as much attention or more attention than the Women's Health Initiative study. So, yes, there was a study done a while back, okay? The Women Health Initiative study. It was that study which caused the black box warning to go on hormones. But the question that should be asked is, was that study really what people made it out to be? And the answer is no. When you looked at that study, those who took estrogen alone had a lower rate of cancer. Yet, when they came out and the media sensationalized an outcome that wasn't even there, next thing you know, is it's like, oh, you do hormone replacement therapy, you are going to give yourself cancer, which was a horrible and a huge mistake. And this is part of the reason why people have distrust with the medical community. The research didn't support it. The media ran with something that was never supported by research. And the medical community, the doctors that you're supposed to be trusting with your health, very, very few of them questioned that and went against it. I know when I was in nurse practitioner school, they just kind of went right along with the study, and many do. But the thing is, providers have been talking about the issues with this and how damaging it was to females who were transitioning from regular menstrual cycles to perimenopause, menopause for years. One of the leaders in that was Dr. Peter Attia. Now there's many others beyond that who've talked about the issues with it. Because the thing is, there are the risks associated when you don't do hormone replacement therapy. Okay. We've got to stop viewing hormones as well. Females have estrogen and progesterone to have babies, and that's it. Well, the thing is, that's not true. So, what are some of the benefits of hormone replacement therapy? So, when we look at this, right, we go to Perplexity, and there's lots of different research on this. Now, a lot of people initially think about really the menopausal, the perimenopausal symptoms, hot flashes, night sweats, sleep disturbances, mood issues, vaginal dryness, and everything else, right? That's what people often think about. Like, if I do hormone replacement therapy, it helps that, which is true, right? Sleep disturbances, most people do really well with progesterone. Anxiety, irritability, mood can be progesterone, estrogen, or testosterone. Vaginal dryness is usually best accomplished through vaginal estrogen, but for some people, they will respond if they do like patch, but you will know that, over the next month or two. Benefits there. Then guess what? You can apply it the other way. And even with those who've had cancer, the research pretty much looks like you are still safe to do vaginal estrogen, even if you've had estrogen sensitive cancer. So that's something to be looking out for. But it goes beyond that. And here's why Peter Attia and many of those medical doctors and researchers have been so frustrated that the FDA ever put guidance in to begin with that you shouldn't do hormones. Because when you look at someone's greatest threats as they get older, there's one that really stands out above the rest, and that is a fall. You fall and you break your hip. There is a very high likelihood you die within the next year if you have a fall. If you were already heading to dementia and you break a hip, guess what? You are going to speed that forward. Well, what's really some of the best ways to prevent osteoporosis, which is the bone thinning that makes you susceptible to falls and a broken hip? Well, estrogen replacement therapy. Estrogen replacement therapy helps reduce inflammation and helps to maintain your bone health. Now, beyond that, Is there strengthening and other stuff that can be talked about? Absolutely. But bone and muscle health is one of the many benefits. Next, what about cardiovascular health? So we know that females do have a little bit higher risk of cardiovascular issues compared to males. The thing is, hormone replacement therapy also can help on that side. Now, when we look at the research, most benefits come if you can do it as you're transitioning from perimenopause into menopause. That's going to be the best. What you don't want is a massive delay, right? You don't want to wait 10, 15 years because the results just aren't going to be as good. But what are other things, right? Cognitive health. You see a lot of people less brain fog, better memory, better concentration. Here's the, I call the vanity one or the feel good one, right? It's better skin, better hair. There's some thoughts that maybe lower risk of diabetes. And as we've talked about, sexual function, libido. So hormone replacement therapy is something that has many, many benefits for those. Now, this is why when we see this, right, FDA finally removed something. And here, as we've talked about at the very beginning, FDA reverses decades old warning on hormone replacement therapy. And one of the things they came out and said was, well, when we look at the data, and there was something I heard about, oh, the data's changed. And as I talked about at the beginning, the data hasn't changed. The initial black box warning wasn't founded off data. Let's be clear. It was never founded off data. It was founded off something that was sensationalized by the media, and the medical providers that should be standing up for women's health went and just said, okay, I guess if that's what we're doing, that's what we're doing. And they just accepted it. And that's why those who wanted to do hormone replacement therapy, they were demonized for years. Like, oh no, you're going to give your patient cancer. You're going to give them this, this, and this. And let's pretend for a second, right? Like, I really enjoy Peter Attia's podcast. He's done much more in depth on this conversation than I will go, right? Hour and a half, 2 hours long, where he talks with different experts. But let's assume it did increase the risk of breast cancer, which it doesn't, but let's assume it does. As we've said, the likelihood that you have a fall, break your hip, and that kills you is exponentially greater than that of getting breast cancer. So when we look at the total benefit to cost of doing it, there really is only one conclusion. It's that for nearly everyone, it is more beneficial to do it than it is not to. So let's be very clear on that. It is more beneficial to do it than it's not. Now, once again, there are some people that just really shouldn't do it, but as a whole, that's what I wanted to cover when we look at the FDA coming out and changing it. Once again, I don't want you to think this is just a political thing, okay? Because this is about health. It shouldn't be political. I know in the United States and many other places across the world, health got very political over the past few years. This isn't political. There was never research that supported what they did initially. This is finally getting back on track after tens of millions of females got hurt from bad media. And once again, the medical associations not standing up for you. So if you have questions, feel free to comment. And I will also do other videos on this in the future.